Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of NACA's American Dream Program, where we talk about how you can get through the process so you can get what? Your house. Thank you for joining us again. We have a special guest, but he's not a special guest. He's always on. But before we get to him, we got Eric Exum in the house. He's back. But before that, Miss Anjanette, what's going on over there? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hello out there, all you NACAlodians out there in the world of NACA. Welcome back to another NACA American Dream podcast, where we're bringing you everything you need to succeed for America's best mortgage and more. And at today's interest rate of a 30-year fixed at 5.625 and a 15-year at 5.5, you cannot beat that with a stick. Poke me like a steak, because I am done. That is the interest rate you want to look for when you're trying to realize your dream for home ownership. And I know the interest rates are rising. I know everybody's talking about that. But guess what? NACA is still the best game in town. It's still giving you the lowest possible rate that's always below market. So guess what? We're still giving you what you need to succeed and get you one step closer to realizing your dream of home ownership. So without further ado, Damien, we have some interesting things here. We're bringing a show back to the population of getting people qualified. We always get those questions. What do I need to do to get qualified? What do I need to do to get an appointment? What's my next step? What, when, where, how, and why? So we got the master of asking all of those questions, who's going to answer all those questions. We have Eric Exum coming onto the show with us. And Damien, I'm so glad to see Eric again, aren't you?
Yes, it's always good to have him back in the house with us. Wow.
Welcome, Eric. Where is he? There he is.
Hey,
what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. And talking about those interest rates, we also I want to remind everyone, we have the 20-year product now, and the 20-year product is at 5.125. So the 30-year is 5.625, 20-year 5.125, and 15-year 5%. And as you might have noticed, if you're monitoring those rates out there, even though where Anjanette said this year to date, interest rates have been going up significantly, this week, the end of last week and starting off early this week, interest rates are down again.
They started.
Yes.
So it's a great time to get in contract if you're ready. Don't ever forget, though, don't worry about interest rates or prices. The best time to buy a house is when you find the right house for you with the affordable payment for you.
That's right. I love it. Eric is always here bringing us nuggets, you guys. By the time, we start off with like a 2 or 3 piece nugget, but by the time we end the show with Eric Exum, we always end up with like a 20 piece, a 50
a whole
piece.
ticket.
We do the tailgate pack. We do everything. Y'all tell I like chicken, don't you? But we do everything. Eric brings it to us. But I want to make sure you guys are locked in and loaded. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are all over the place when it comes to being visible on our social media platforms. So check us out. Bring those questions in and keep them coming. We have Eric Exum here for the next hour, guys. And as busy as he is being the national director of the entire mortgage processing department, which is huge in itself, he takes 1 hour out of his day to bring it back to the streets. He comes back to the grassroots and say, you know what? Let me give them what they need to succeed and get one step closer to home ownership. And if you cannot get on social media or wherever you are, and you want to reach out and call us, you can always check us out on our radio line at 833-551-0500. That's 833-551-0500. Boy, did I have a tongue twister there. But definitely check us out on our telephone line. And let me call it out again, 833-771-0500. 833-771-0500. I want to make sure I get you what you need. But guys out there in Facebook, I'm throwing up some hearts for you guys because you all always show us some love. And out there in Instagram and Twitter, thank you so much for your undying commitment to NACA. We appreciate all of the comments, the phone calls that you send us, that you bring us. But we got Eric here. And Eric, now that we're on the subject, and Kim Baptiste, hello, Kim Baptiste. Thank you for joining in. Hearts out to you, girl. I love the love. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. But Eric, why I have you here, unless Damien wants to tap into literally what's going on in the market today, I want to just jump right in on the interest rates. They are going down. And a lot of people literally, I've talked to them at church, I talked to them everywhere. They literally was saying how they were going to wait. I want to wait. I'm not going to come in. I don't want to take the program now. I don't want to use it now because the interest rates keep rising and I'm not going to be able to afford a home. And because you tapped on that, let's talk about what this decrease means. And you never stop looking, you never stop the process. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's a good question and a good conversation. So interest rates fluctuate and can fluctuate daily, meaning they can go up or down one day to the next. And I see a lot of people out there, and I understand why, will sit back and say, I'm going to try and wait until the interest rate hits a certain amount, and then I'm going to turn in my contract. Just got to be careful with that, because they may continue to go up and not come down for weeks, if not months, and they could even be years, or they could go down. Don't worry about catching the right rate the right day, because that's a dangerous game. You know, it's kind of like going to Vegas and hoping you hit that number, right? The time to do your application is when you have the contract fully executed and when you have all your docs together. Then you sit down with your mortgage counselor and do your full bank application. If we knew what was going to happen with interest rates one day to the next, then we'd all be rich, right? Because we can anticipate the market and play the rates. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow it could be at 7%. Tomorrow it could be at 4.5%. Now, typically there's not that significant of a jump, but this year has been crazy. I've been seeing 0.5% interest rate jumps from one day to the next, which is incredibly rare. 0.75% and a whole percent within a 1.5 week period, which is very rare. So trying to anticipate, is very dangerous. Now, on the flip side, you may have only qualified for your monthly payment for the house that you're in contract for at a particular interest rate. That's where your savings is so important, because the interest rate buy down is something you have to be ready to do. If the rate goes up at 0.5% tomorrow, you might have to buy it back down to the rate that you calculated your math on for the affordability for that particular purchase.
That makes sense. Go ahead, Damien.
I do have a question, since you're talking about the interest rates. Say, like you said, you need to find the house at the right price that you want and all of that. How does that work with your interest rate locking with the fluctuation, also as it includes the weekend? Because from my understanding, the interest rate changes every day. But what if I find a house and do a contract on the weekend? Am I locked at, where does that fall, and how do I get locked in on my interest rate? Because I may be kind of close at getting the house that I want, and I don't want to make sure I go over or anything like that.
Excellent question, and good timing for that question, because Friday was Veterans Day, so it's a good example of how to answer this. So NACA is incredibly unique. I think we're the only organization in the country who gives you the lower of two rates set on two particular dates. So using Friday as an example, the rate from Thursday would have carried through Friday, because Friday was bank holiday, and through the entire weekend until the new rate came out approximately 10 a.m. Eastern on Monday today, because the banks are running on Central Time, 9 a.m. Central. That's approximately when the rates come out. So 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you get in contract over the weekend, this particular weekend, you would get in whatever rate was issued on Thursday, which carried through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, until this morning around 10 a.m. Now, you'll get the lower of the two rates. When your property is identified and you give your mortgage counselor your fully executed personal sales contract, that gives your counselor the 3 origination triggers they didn't already have. They already had your income, they already had your social or credit, they already had your name. Now, when you give them your contract, they have the property address, the estimated value, and estimated loan amount. And you're talking to them about that. Even if you give it to them verbally, we have that information. Once they complete the data entry for that information, submit it for NACA credit access. We grab the rate for that day they submit you for NACA credit access. We hold on to that rate in the background. Then it might take you a week, 10 days to get all your docs together to clear and make it through NACA credit access to put together your full loan package. That day, the package goes to the bank also. That's the day the package goes to the bank. We generate what's called a loan origination worksheet. We look at the rate from that day versus the day when you got in contract and the data entry was completed and it was submitted for credit access, and take the lower of the two. So you end up with the lower of when you were properly identified and the data entry completed, or when you actually complete your application.
Wow. Thank you.
You know what? And Eric, I want to ask you something. Mo Better, I see you out there, girl. Nice to see you, Mo Better, Mo Better, Mo Better. We love you. We love you out there. Sending you nothing but NACA love from all of us to you. Thank you, honey. Want to ask you, and Maria Warwick is asking a question. If I purchased at a high interest rate, would I be able to refinance later with another bank before the 5 years, or do I have to wait? Thank you for that question, Maria. Hearts up to you.
It's a great question. Let me go back and clarify something before I answer that question. When I say do your loan application, you get the lower of the two rates. It's when your credit access is approved. So say it gets approved today and you don't do your application until tomorrow, you would get today's rate. Just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. So that somebody doesn't, do their application, submit it to the bank tomorrow and say, oh, it went down today, I want today's rate. No, you would get the day it was approved and you were able to go to bank.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
So for Maria's question, which is an excellent question, and it's relatively new that we updated the neighborhood stabilization agreement to the 5-year, you have to stabilize a neighborhood or you start paying back into $25,000 per year. And I believe that's what she's asking about. Now you would, according to the agreement, you would have to wait 5 years before refinancing without having an obligation to repay. However, let me be really clear about this. That 5-year obligation is all about service to our communities and neighborhood stabilization.
Absolutely.
So if that was something that simply made sense, Maria, like you bought today and 3 years from now rates went down to 3% and it just made sense for you to refinance, no, we on paper you would have to repay, but we would look at that case by case and make sure that it made sense for you and the community. There's nothing in that to punish anybody, and that would sound like a punishment to not allow you to refinance into a lower rate. If that was the reason you were doing it, absolutely we'd allow it. If you tried to cash out refi or just flip the house for profit, that's a different situation.
Right.
And that we would look at differently.
Thank you for clarifying that. That makes so much sense. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Vanessa is in, and thank you for the question, Vanessa. Can I get a reduced interest rate if I lock in an interest rate and then the interest rate drops? That's a good one. Once you lock it up. But go ahead, Eric. I'll let the expert.
It is a really good one. That can only happen if you do what's called floating a rate. When you float a rate, you agree to pay an eighth of a percent or whatever percentage that entity, the lender or broker decides it costs you to float a rate. NACA does not float rates for that reason. You could end up with a higher interest rates if rates don't go down. So it's a good question. If I get in contract today, I do my application today. If the rates go down 2 weeks from now and I didn't quite close yet, can I get that rate? No. You're going to get the starting rate of the day that you complete your application. And again, it's going to be the lesser of when you were properly identified and data entry completed, or when you were credit access approved. But that's the rate you get through the whole process. Now, later in the process, say, 2 weeks into the process and you have time to close, you decide, I started this with a 5.5% interest rate. I really want to get down to 5, get my payment down, and I have the funds for interest rate buy down. We will allow you to go ahead and do what's called a change of circumstance to buy your interest rate down to that 5% to get the lower rate.
Thank you so much for that, Eric. And Joseph Sparks, hey out there, Joseph Sparks, I see you on Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. We love you over here. I want to ask you a question. I'll go ahead on and ask Joseph's question. Then I have another one. I need a good in-house agent for New York. There you go. Damien, what should he be doing for a good in-house agent in New York? And thank you for saying in-house agent. Want to talk about the difference, Damien?
Well, there's 3 categories. There's the in-house agent who actually work for NACA. Then we have a referral agent who now works alongside NACA, but they work for a different broker where there are no in-house agents available. And then you just have the regular outside agent. There are 3. To find a great in-house agent, all you have to do is reach out to the broker for that area, and we can make sure we get you that number. I think it's either Jerome Washington, Own Your Home with Jerome, and he can get in touch with him, and he can now help assist you with getting a in-house counselor in your area. And they're always the best, because one of the reasons that I'm a proponent of an in-house agent, we do one loan. NACA's conventional loan. We don't do Fannie, Freddie, none of them cousins. We focus on one loan, and we become experts. So we help get you through the finish line. So definitely an in-house agent is the way to go. Not just to say that, but we're experts in what we do, and we do it all the time.
Ooh, if I could add a little bit, I happen to be from New York. I live in Charlotte now.
Absolutely.
We have phenomenal in-house agents in the New York market. It's a challenging market. What's unique about New York is certain agents don't go outside of their respective borough. I've known agents who I only do Brooklyn, or I only do this part of Brooklyn. I only do Queens, or this part of Queens, or Staten Island, et cetera. But the agents that we've worked with, and the settlement agents, are phenomenal in New York. I'm very, I'll say this about New York, and you probably already know it, whoever asked the question. New York has one of the highest transfer taxes in the country.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's $10,000+ just to get the property transferred into your name. That's covered with the lender paid closing costs. So, my perspective has always been, if you know about NACA and you meet the eligibility criteria for NACA, you'd almost have to be crazy to buy anywhere else, because you're saving tens of thousands of dollars up front on any New York City transaction.
Makes sense. And Joseph is saying, Damien, can you refer one? Do you have Jerome's information? Because
I am looking it up now. And
just a second, Joseph. We're going to help you right now, right here. And while we're looking up Jerome's information real quick to give it to Joseph, Sylvia Perez, we are coming to you with the question that you have. She says, I already started the process. Congratulations and welcome to the NACA family. And she's had her first meeting and all. To speed up the process, should I go to a dream event? And no, do not wait and go to a dream event. Absolutely not. Here's what we want to see from you, Sylvia. You can call our number 425-602-6222 and let them know that you are ready now. And guess what? There is a waiting list for people that are ready now, that they can move you up to the process. They're going to ask you some questions. They're going to pull your file. They're going to look you up. So make sure you have your NAC ID and all the pertinent information. But you can speed up the process if you are in fact ready now. And that number, Joseph Sparks, the number for Jerome Washington, the in-house agent up in the Northeast, is going to be 856-433-7725. That's 856-433-7725. Eric, did you have anything you wanted to add about the previous question?
I did, and you answered it perfectly. Never wait to start something that's good, right? Because for everyone, the process is going to be different. So if you're thinking about buying a house now, get the process started now. All the services are free. And you can get an appointment right away. We've changed our member portal significantly. So if you're on top of your game and you can get online and get your information completed quickly, you can get an appointment virtually right away, which in 20 years of working with NACA, I have not seen that, because we're in such crazy demand because of the loan product itself. So I would say definitely don't delay. Start now. Now, you'll work. The key is to get your one-on-one comprehensive counseling. For some people, you'll walk in the doors and you're pretty much mortgage ready now. For others, you might hear some things that even if you're mortgage ready now, the counselor might teach you a few things of becoming mortgage ready for a higher mortgage, for a different mortgage. The more time you spend in the process, the more you're going to learn about your own finances, about house shopping, about, you're going to learn from someone who's been in that market, working with hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of members. I'll tell you, in all of my mortgage education, I've learned more from members who I sit across the desk with than anyone else. And when I bring that knowledge I've learned from members to other members coming through the process and share their experience, it makes it such a better experience for them. So that's the long answer that as Jeanette said, don't wait. Definitely do not wait. And then if you have the dream event in your area, show up, because you can get a lot done in that short period of time, seeing people back to back, bringing a few more documents and getting qualified in that process.
That's right. That is the best advice ever. Just show up if we do have events, and you can always find out where we are and where we're going next at www.naca.com. Always check us out. We are everywhere, and we have so much in store for you in 2023. It would take me all this hour just to tell you everything that's going down the path. Joseph, thank you. You are very, very welcome for giving you that number. And Catherine, yes, ma'am. I'm going to repeat that number. If you are looking for one of our in-house agents in the Northeast area, the best person to call is one of our brokers, which is Jerome Washington. He will point you in the right direction and give you a direct people that's under his umbrella. His number is 856-433-7725. That's 856-433-7725. Catherine, I hope that helped you out. And Joseph, make it happen. You are currently in your housing search. Good luck to you, sir.
But the other point that you want to make out is that if you waited, as you kind of see now, some of you may wait it, but the interest rate is going down. Yep. So if you were already ready, you could be out looking for your house. Now you got to, go through the process of trying to get qualified. So it may go down further or it may go up. Always. As Anjanette says, always be ready and stay ready.
And stay ready. And let me play devil's advocate, because I'm going to play with me and Vanessa coming at you guys right now. Because Vanessa said, wait a minute, hold up. I was in the process with NACA. I still haven't closed yet, but I locked my rate in 3 months ago. Can I get my interest rate lowered now if it drops? And I think Eric answered the question earlier, but reiterate it, Eric.
I did. No, again, once you have your rate set, that's the rate that you have through that process. And you can't lock it again when the rates change later on. Now, we are incredibly unique in that, whatever rate you get, we can hold that rate for 300. We can hold that rate indefinitely. We reset the rate at 360 days, but whatever low rate you get, we hold that rate indefinitely.
But they could possibly still buy it down. It's just that it's not going to be an automatic for free drop to the lowest, correct?
That's exactly correct. And whenever you lock it, whenever you buy it or lock in that rate, right, that's what rate you're going to get. Exactly as Damian said, you can buy down the rate further. Just make sure if you decide to do that, you give yourself enough time to redisclose the new interest rate. So make sure you have at least 2 weeks left in your contract or before you're ready to close, if you make a late decision to buy down the interest rate further.
Absolutely. And later on, I want to talk about the interest rate buy down, because that question had come up earlier as well as last show. But David Bond, hello out there, David Bond. Hope you're having a good day. But David has an excellent question. David say, now, wait a minute. How can I ever be ready if you have to show proof of savings in certain amount of money every month? And that's a great question. This is a step. These are steps you have to take, but there are some people who are ready now. David, Eric, let's talk about that.
Sure, and I hope that everybody gets this, that the savings pattern requirement is only for someone who's trying to increase their current housing payment. Rents out there are crazy. I'm seeing people rent in non-high cost markets for $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 per month. So, David, what a lot of people are doing, they're buying houses to get their housing payment down, not up. So if you're trying to decrease your housing payment, you do not have a waiting period of a savings pattern. That's the only thing that takes time. If you already have stable income, your payment history is stable, you don't have any recent collections. The only thing that really, and you have your minimum required funds put aside already, the only thing that really takes time, to your point, David, is savings pattern, which takes 3 to 6 months to establish. But again, if you've already been doing a savings pattern, for example, I've been living in my apartment or I've been renting a house somewhere, and I did have disposable income, and I've been putting aside, for the future, $500 a month. We'll look at whatever your rental payment is now, plus that $500 a month that you've been putting away with or without knowing you had to, because you might have been doing that before you even heard about NACA. So for a lot of people, they're going down in payment, so they will not have to wait for a savings pattern. Good. But, I will say this to you, David. over the next 3 months, and if anyone tells you they know what's going to happen in the market in the next 3 months, don't listen to them. And they do not have a crystal ball. We've seen things in the last 12 months in the housing market that we've never seen before. It's been a very unique market. What I can say to you is historically, people take a lot more houses off the market through the winter, right about now, through the holidays, and we don't see them hit the market again until March. So that's what we've seen, on average year after year for the last, 50 plus years. So it's likely that a lot more houses hit the market in March, April, and May. Then you're going to see what's out there for options right now. I'm saying that to say, if you do have a savings pattern requirement, this is a great time to have it because there's usually less options for inventory. And then we see a lot more inventory in March, April, and May. And we have seen a significant increase in the most recent 3 months in inventory than the previous 3 months and year to date and all of last year. Last year was a horrible year for inventory and options for purchasing.
Now, 2 nuggets I want to add as far as what you were just saying, Eric, is for those who haven't attended or considering or considering a home buying workshop, you don't have to wait to get to your counselor to start your savings pattern and making sure you're paying things on time. If you go to a home buy, like right now, you can start this month starting your savings pattern. So don't forget, go ahead and start it now. So when you get to the counselor, you're like, I've already been saving. The next nugget I'll share with you guys, if you decide to work with an in-house agent, we're able to get you an expedited appointment. So that's just a nugget for working with an in-house agent. You can get an expedited appointment to go ahead and get you in faster, get seen, and get qualified.
That's a helpful selling point right there. I didn't know that. That's awesome, Damien.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Giving you more what you need to succeed right here. Again, we're going to take a quick pause just to mention we're at www.naca.com. Check us out, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms, and you can always reach us at 833-771-0500. Got a question coming out from Facebook. Seifu AB Desta. Let's get that question. I am non-priority member. Okay. Is the less than 100% MSA requirement permanent, and is it not subject to change? That is an Eric question for sure.
All right, Eric.
So Seifu's been paying attention that NACA is incredibly nimble, and we make adjustments to whatever makes most sense for our missions. So I appreciate her asking this. It is not likely that we're going to change, meaning it's not likely that we're going to make it so that you can be above the median income and you can purchase a property above the median income. It's not like we're going to change that anytime soon. NACA's mission is helping people who are low moderate income or purchasing in low moderate income communities. And that's been our mission since the onset of NACA, and that part of the mission is not going to change. How we speak to that mission and how we stay about low moderate income people right now is having the priority non-priority requirement. Now, what you might be talking about also is very recently, just under 2 months ago, the FFIEC updated their median incomes for the metropolitan statistical areas, or MSAs. So those have recently updated, and we're probably not going to see the MSA median incomes change again until after July of next year. Sometimes we see them come out in July, sometimes August, sometimes September. And with COVID, there were some delays. So we saw it as late September, early October before the FFIEC updated median incomes.
So Eric, with that, are you saying that right now, just give you an example, the median income was $85,000, say in Atlanta, and now it's raised to $95,000. So whereas before July, I was considered non-priority, now after July, I'm considered priority.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's based on the current FFIEC median incomes, not what it was earlier in the year. The minute those change, we update our systems, and you qualify based on the new median incomes. Now, it's a good thing to talk about because there's things we have control over and there's things we don't. Mm-hmm. Okay. We have control over our eligibility. So I'll be candid with you. A few of the median incomes actually went down in some markets. So if before, say you were at $95,000 or your income was 90,000, in a census tract where the median income was 95,000, and the median income dropped to 85,000, technically that would make you a non-priority member now. You go from priority to non-priority. I'd make that exception for you all day long. If the median income,
y'all heard it.
So internally, we have control over that. What I do not have control over is the interest rate. Don't forget, if you're a non-priority member and you're purchasing in a census tract above 80% of the median income, then you do not get the low and moderate income borrower rate reduction of the 1%. So you would get a 1% higher interest rate than a priority member. And we post the rates for the priority members because that's who we're focused on, right? So that's something I do not have control over. So there's no wiggle room there. The minute the FFIEC updates, and that's not that's not math like income that can be up to interpretation. Where do you include the overtime? Do you not include it? That's math that's solid. Either you're below the median income or you're not. Either that property is 80% of the median income or below, or it's not. And if not, you do not get the lower interest rate.
Eric, I got one. So what if it's a 2-income family with both of them? They're now considered non-priority. But if they say, hey, I'm just going to use the wife's income, we can still afford a house that we want. And the wife's income alone now puts her to priority. Do they have that option to make that choice? Or NACA will say, nope, we got to use both income?
Well, our program wasn't designed to be manipulated that way, but yeah, they can do that because we're not going to make a value judgment that says, we think that you intended both of you to be on the loan the entire time. So we're going to base our median incomes by who's on the loan, not who's in the household.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And affordability is based on who's in the household. But to your point, Damian, there is going to be a limiting factor. If you're now only using one income, you do have debt to income ratios that will limit your purchasing power. You have housing ratios that will limit your purchasing power. So you can't, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't only use the one income, but then use the affordability for the two incomes.
Got it.
That makes sense. And now that we're on the subject and we're talking about interest rates and things like that, Eric, do you happen to know? I know I gave the 30-year interest rate as of today is 5.625, and the 15-year is 5.5%.
5.125. I'm sorry. 5% and the 20%. I'm sorry. Yes, the 15-year is 5.125, 5 and 8. The 20-year is 5.125. The 20-year is always going to be 0.5% lower than the 30-year. What's interesting, the reason I got so excited and jumped in on you, is what's interesting about that is sometimes the NACA 20-year rate is actually lower than the 15-year rate.
Correct.
Wait, what?
Actually unheard of anywhere else. Yes.
That's correct. So sometimes, and now is probably the time to get the 20-year because that rate is going to be lower. So to Kelly's question, and Kelly Johnson, thank you for your question. Hearts out to you, love. My question is, if I choose the 20-year mortgage option and I'm a priority member, what is the lowest rate available for me? And I think you just
so the starting rate, if say you got into contract today, you got the contract to your mortgage counselor uploaded it into our system and got what's called your ROW, registration organization worksheet, and got it out to the lender where they can grab today's interest rate of 5.125 on a 20-year. So we would start you there. Then you could buy your interest rate down with your funds up to the HOPA thresholds. And that's kind of a complicated math, so I won't get too deep into that, but that's approximately 5.5% you can use your own funds for. The seller, and now's a great time. I'm seeing seller contributions increasing like I haven't seen since, the mid-2000s. So I'm seeing 10, 20, 30,000 from sellers now. If you negotiate an interest rate buy down from the seller, that does not impact Home Ownership and Equity Protection Act. That's the HOPA threshold I was talking about, which limits the buyer's discount points they can buy or points and fees that they can pay towards a mortgage. The seller can pay, up to 10 discount points. So their 10 plus your 5.5 is
I love it.
Nice. Now is grant money considered yours, or on the other side?
Excellent question. Grant money is considered yours and does have a limit with a threshold because the grant gives it to you.
That's
They're
right.
Okay.
not a party in the transaction.
That's
They give
mine.
it to you and you use it. So you can use the grant money for principal reduction also, meaning reducing how much the loan you're taking on is. So if the purchase price is $200,000, you get a grant for $20,000. You may use $10,000 for principal reduction, doing a $190,000 loan, and the other 10 towards interest rate buy down, reducing.
Awesome.
I love that scenario. And yes, grant money is all mine. Mine is granted to me. So take advantage of that. There's so many different grants out there, and there's so many, they're divided into state, they're divided into federal funds, they're divided into local dollars, city dollars, county dollars. So when you start looking and checking into grants that are available, check your county, don't stop there, check your city, don't stop there, check housing organizations that federal funds are triggered down to. So check all of those.
United Way.
As a matter of fact, we just had an event. Eric, you'd be glad to know, we just had an event here in Houston, Texas, and it was a community resource day. And all the organizations, we had a community resource day and job fair because NACA is always hiring. We are hiring. That's right. And we're not just hiring in Texas, everybody. We're hiring in all of our offices across the country. And even where we don't have brick and mortar, still apply because guess what? We're hiring remote counselors in those areas as well, where we don't have brick and mortar offices. So check us out. And once again, I'm always plugging us, www.naca.com. But wanted to let you know that we had a community resource day, a fair where all the different organizations was out there. And we were so surprised to know that I'm so glad we email blast our membership, our Houston membership and surrounding areas to come out. I'm so glad we did because what we found out was that the rental assistance, utilities, people were getting their utilities paid for the next 3 months. That's November, December, and January. You know what I call that? A Merry Christmas, everyone. That's what I call that. So the energy company was out there and the utility company was out there for gas and things like that. So they were doing that. But what we found out is that United Way had rental dollars available and they were provided. You could do your application on the spot. And if you lived in certain zip codes, they had dollars available for rental assistance, 3 months rental assistance, 6 months rental assistance. And once again, I do call that a Merry Christmas. So for the grants, when it comes to housing, down payment assistance, check those local entities like United Way out because you never know what you'll find.
Now, I got to say this. I just got to say this. We're trying to get in the house. So when you get that free money, don't go out and go Christmas shopping. You put that in your savings for your home. Your savings for your home.
Yep.
All right. No extra Christmas. No, I got vacation money. No, I got travel money. No. Put that in your savings because you're definitely going to need it.
Cool. Just want to slip in there real quick. Hey, April, we appreciate you. Throwing love right back your way.
That's right, April. Thank you so much. And Kimberly Marshall. Oh, look at her. I love the April. Thank you. I love the little heart. And look like Kimberly Marshall had a question. I wanted to make sure I answered that. Throwing some hearts up to you, Kimberly. How can I set up a meeting to meet with a counselor as I am ready to start my process directly to expedite the process? So,
all right, good for you. And again, it's a great time to start your process this time of the year.
Exactly.
So, Kimberly, first step is sign up and attend a NACA qualification homebuyer workshop. You have to attend that workshop. We do them every other Saturday or 2 Saturdays a month. During the holiday season, they change around a little bit, but we do it twice a month on Saturdays. It's about a 4-hour workshop. It's informational. It tells you all about NACA eligibility, NACA qualification, NACA affordability, discusses how much funds you need to qualify and so on. It gives you a lot of great information. You can even meet an in-house agent at a NACA workshop.
Yeah.
You'll hear testimonials from members who have used our program. And like I said, our members are our best resource. Our members tell you the real deal. I mean, I always tried to, when I was a counselor, partner members with other members as their volunteer act.
Nice.
Because there's nothing better than a peer to help you.
Absolutely.
When your counselor is not available. Somebody who's been there, done that. So definitely start right away. So again, first step, just go to www.naca.com, go to the workshop. At the workshop, you'll get a NACA ID or immediately after. I believe we do it right at the workshop now.
That's
and
right.
Then once you have your NACA ID, then you go to your member portal. Get ready for it, because there's a lot of information. You are going to control your whole process. It used to be that the counselor did all the work and did your data entry, and you had to wait for them for that. They uploaded your documents. You sent it to the system, and they had to upload. You had to wait for all that. Now you control your own process.
Yeah.
So the faster you do your own data entry, the faster you upload all the required documents, the faster you're able to get an appointment and sit down with a counselor one-on-one. I personally prefer face-to-face counseling sessions. It's nothing like sitting across your desk, looking at the same thing, looking at the document together. However, we do offer, remote Zoom sessions for all of our counseling sessions right now.
Absolutely.
So now just a quick thing. We do have face-to-face home buying workshop and virtual.
Correct.
And counseling, both virtual and face-to-face, correct?
Correct.
We still have that. Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody know that. And then the other thing, I've seen a lot of questions pop up about how do I get to a counselor? You don't get direct access to a counselor until you have your NACA ID and have uploaded your documents. You don't go to a counselor until you've uploaded or attended a workshop, NACA ID, uploaded documents. Then either you yourself can make an appointment, or you can call our member services and get an appointment set for you. But you don't make an appointment directly with the counselor until you completed those steps.
Right. And now Kimberly's question, I get the feeling now, Eric answered it perfectly, but Kimberly, if you are already a NACA member and you've done the workshop and you've done all of those steps and you still saying you're ready now, contact that number 425-602-6222 and they're going to direct you. But I will tell you this, if you have not gone in to the system, created you into the member portal, and you started submitting all of the documents that's required, because people want to know, well, what documents are required? What documents are required? Guess what? The member portal will give you everything you need. I know y'all tired of me saying everything you need to succeed, but the member portal will really and truly give you everything you need to succeed. You know why? When I saw two people, I was literally watching them use the member portal, and one of them was like, well, I'm not ready. And there was another one saying, I'm ready right now. Once they went to the member portal, the one that thought she was ready right now needed to go back and get some child support documents, additional income documents, and other things that she thought she wasn't going to need. She needed that. The one that wanted to delay her process and thought she wasn't ready, she come to find out she had everything she needed. Simple, straightforward. Every document she had, that was required based on the information she put into the system. Every document it told her she was going to need, she already had it electronically. So guess what?
Awesome.
She called that number and got an appointment. Within 2 weeks, she was in with the counselor. So that, Kimberly, I hope answers your question on when can you talk with a counselor, how soon you can get to your counselor. It depends on you. But if you are truly ready now, contact that number today.
And also, don't forget, working with an in-house agent gets you a quick appointment.
Yeah.
And what's nice right now, pretty much no one has to wait 2 weeks. With our new process, with the member portal, it really puts you in the driver's seat. And I'm loving that, because those who are more motivated to get their work done have access to a counselor that much faster.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. Now I don't want to put aside people who are more technology challenged, because I don't want people who are struggling with technology to feel like you're not going to get your session. So that's when you really call that number, 425-602-6222, and get help. And, or, maybe partner, like I said, partner with another NACA member, get member services to help you with that, and get help. Maybe, calling your niece, your nephew, someone who is great with technology, your aunt, your uncle, somebody who is great with it, to sit down with you and help you get all of the process done in your member portal.
Absolutely. Vanessa had a question. I wanted to make sure, because she had a low to moderate income question, and I wanted to make sure I asked that one. Thank you, Vanessa. What is the range of low and moderate income? So let's talk about that.
Sure. For the NACA program, it completely depends on what metropolitan statistical area you sit in.
Right.
So if you just Google FFIEC, you'll land on their website. Now you can pull up their Excel and look at it by market. So, just try starting with major cities that you know of. Type in New York City. That'll come up. New York City, White Plains, Mount Vernon. So the MSAs are not just that city, but usually they start with the major city name in that area. So Charlotte will be Charlotte, Gastonia, Concord, which is suburbs, so, cities near Charlotte, and so on. Each MSA has its own median income. It takes everyone in that MSA, and they're not drawn by states or cities again. These lines are drawn by areas, metropolitan statistical areas. It looks at the census tract information for everyone who lives in that metropolitan statistical area. And a median is 50% or more than this number, 50% or less. Medians are much better than averages, right? Because all you have to do is have a Bill Gates who lives in your community, and you just drove the average up. But a median, a billionaire, only counts as one person. So it doesn't matter once it's above this line. It doesn't matter how many billions they make per year or whatever they make, whatever they have. It's 50% of the people make more than this per year. 50% of the people in that particular metropolitan statistical area make less than that per year. So it's going to be unique for each person looking at it, depending on whatever MSA they reside in. And currently, if you're looking at if you want to purchase where you currently reside, or make sure if you're thinking about moving out of your current community. If I currently live in Boston, but I want to buy in the Brookline area, then make sure you're looking at the MSA in Brookline, because it might be different, and it's likely to be different than Boston. So look where you want to purchase, because at the end of the day, that's what it goes by, where you're buying, not where you currently live.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric. And we have an interesting one from our Facebook user. Is saying, I want to get started, but I can't seem to join any meetings in my area.
So we have, that's interesting. So what we have to solve exactly for that is we have a remote housing counseling team, and they offer workshops for the areas that we do not have brick and mortar in. So, for example, a lot of the middle of the company, the Dakotas, Utah, these are areas, New Mexico, these are areas where we don't have physical offices. So the remote counseling center can handle all of that. And we offer 2 workshops per month for those remote areas as well. So please look for those. They're probably listed under NACA Housing Counseling Center. And that's who you'll work with. So your process will be a bit more remote, if you're not willing to drive to an office, and we certainly understand it's not an office, within reasonable commuting distance. And then you'll do your process other than closing by Zoom. You will have to drive to an office for your actual closing, but by then you bought your house, and it is still worth it.
Absolutely. And shout outs out there. I'm looking at all the love from TT and Talisha and Nardella. And you guys, just thank you so much. It's nice to see you guys out there. So keep the questions coming. We are loving the energy. And these are some real good questions. I want to hit Eric with one tough one. It's always tough for us because we try to wrap our heads around the concept. We get tackled with it every day. But before I do, let me ask Malika Johnson's question. Hi, Malika. She's asking, does the workshop expire if I've already attended? And that's a good question because people always want to know, how long is it before I have to retake that workshop? Good question, Ms. Johnson.
It's an excellent question. Once you've attended a workshop and you have a NACA ID number, technically you do not have to go to another workshop. Not at all. Now, you don't have to, but I'm strongly going to recommend that you do. Because as you saw, the security agreement has changed last year. There's been a lot of changes. We're very nimble. If we see a better way to do something, we make an adjustment quickly. So, for example, if you came through this program 5 years ago, there's been a lot of significant changes you're going to want to know about.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly around the member portal. We used to have the web file. Now we have the member portal. The workshop will really help walk you through that member portal. We'll give you direct information about some of the stuff we're talking about. We didn't have, to this extent, a remote counseling center. Before COVID, we didn't even do remote sessions except for on a very minor or small. So I would recommend, if it's been more than 24 months, I would strongly recommend that you do attend another workshop. You can use your same old ID from before, but definitely go get the information, maybe even get your questions answered, meet a real estate agent, and get refreshed. And
Eric, would you say also that
Absolutely.
the mortgage industry is constantly changing, so you want to stay abreast of what's going on, or would you say
it's a great statement. What I would say about the mortgage industry, it's constantly working in cycles.
okay?
There's not a whole lot that happens today that we haven't seen before. It's just that things we're seeing today, interestingly enough, I haven't seen since the early 2000s. And that was a very dangerous time in the mortgage industry.
Okay.
The inventory issue that happened because of the compounded low interest rate on top of COVID and people wanting, to own the place that they're living in because we were stuck inside for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then those horrible investors who are buying up everything and renting them out in certain communities like Vegas, Atlanta, Charlotte. Those three things together created the biggest inventory challenge, in my career, certainly the past 20 years, but probably in housing history. So we see some things, but it's always unique when you have a combination of things stacked on top of each other.
Absolutely. And Eric, just want to get this corrected for KT Kelsey. Hey, KT, hope you're doing well. The Federal Financial Institution Examination Council, FFIEC, is that correct?
It's correct.
Okay.
IB4E. And that's exactly what it is. I don't want to spell it out because nobody knows what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to have to remember all that to Google it. But yes, if you just Google FFIEC, play with it, right? So when you get on the website, first of all, the website is amazing for understanding demographics.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is they put together information to make sure a lot of different regulations are complied with, and the data is easy to access for those. That's the Community Reinvestment Act. That's the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, Equal Credit Opportunity Act, and so on. So this one federal committee came together and said, all right, we're going to give all the bankers out there and everyone out there the census tract data information so we can see what's going on in housing. So it has census tract data around racial makeup, around economic makeup.
Wow.
How many multifamilies versus single families, household sizes on average for those particular census tracts. It's great data just to understand, the community that you're purchasing in and who it's made up of.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is
Wow.
good information. Hello out there, Orlando, Florida. I see you out there, and Ashley and KT and all of you guys, Talisha, thank you guys for tuning in. Eric, I want to hit you with one final question because I just want to make sure I ask. I will get so talked about if I don't ask. The interest rate buy down. If I have $2,000 extra money laying around, in addition to my savings, and I can play around with anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000, is that enough to buy down my interest rate?
Yeah, it depends on what the loan amount is. So I'll walk you through the whole interest rate buy down. The one thing I'm going to say before getting into interest rate buy down, make sure that you have a bit of reserves after all is said and done and you close. We are going to require that you have some reserves. Mm-hmm. What do I mean by reserves? The way NACA calculates reserves is 1 month of your full principal, interest, taxes, insurance, homeowners association payment is 1 month of reserves. So the full amount is 1 month of reserves. If you're buying a single family property and your payment shock, meaning the difference between what you have a history of paying in rent and what you're going to end up paying in mortgage is less than $300, we only require 1 month of reserves after all is said and done. And you only need to pay for, your prepaid taxes, insurance, and interim interest. And if you choose to buy home, title coverage, owner's title coverage. You can buy it if you buy into a homeowners association with an upfront fee. You'll have to pay that. But you really, if you choose none of the optional products, you're just paying for prepaid taxes, insurance, and per diem interest. That's it. And then you just need 1 month's reserve if your single family purchase is within $300 of what you have a history of paying in rent. If it's more than $300 and it's single family, then it's 2 months reserves. If you're self-employed, probably for straightforward reasons, it's 3 months reserves because you got to maintain your business, and now you're buying a house, and you're going to have some extra expenses when you buy a house. If you're buying a duplex, it's 4 months reserves, meaning a 2-family property, a 3-family property, 5 months reserves, and a 4-family property, which is the largest residential property you can buy, and you do have to live in one of the units, then you have to have 6 months reserves. So once you have the reserves, then you can buy down your interest rate. And I would recommend, because life happens, right? You buy a house and the hot water heater goes, even though you had an inspection, it's nobody's fault. An inspector couldn't have anticipated, that happens, right? Sometimes you buy a house, HVAC units on the, it's all happened to me personally buying houses. Yeah. But that's why reserves are important, right? Bought a house that came with a washer and dryer. As soon as I bought it, the washer
went out.
Did have that insurance policy on it, but you still had to pay $60 for the person to come out and tell me that my filter was clogged. But
isn't that something?
So interest rate buy down, the way it works is for a 15 or 20-year mortgage, 1.5%, 1.5% of your loan amount. So on a $100,000 house loan, $1,500. $200,000 loan, $3,000, just for the math of it. So 1.5% of the loan amount permanently buys the interest rate down by 0.25%. So if for easy math, if today's interest rate were 5%, 1% buys it down to 4.75 permanently.
Oh, wow.
On a 15-year mortgage, 1% of your mortgage amount, your loan amount, permanently buys it down by 0.25%. So now instead of 1.5%, it's only 1% permanently buys. And you can buy in portions. So you don't have to buy the whole 1.5%.
Right.
You can actually buy 1/6%.
I love it.
And you can buy it in 1/8% increments. So 0.125% increments.
I love it. I love it. Only here can you customize your interest rate by using buy down principle. I mean, literally, you can use down payment assistance, which NACA has no down payment. You can buy down your rate and reduce the principal amount. Only at NACA can you do all of this. This is truly a custom fit, Eric. Everybody thinks it's too good to be true. I go to the workshops and things like that, and they always think it's too good to be true. And it's not. It really happens. That's why we have our testimonies there. I mean, life happens. And I hear, just like you said, you got to have that cushion, because one of our testimonies said as soon as she moved into the house, she realized at that time, winter storm happened, hailstorm happened, and she ended up needing a new roof just right off the bat. Isn't that something?
I'll get back to that whole too good to be true thing. So I bought my house through NACA in 2003. Mm-hmm. I came to work for NACA the same year to find the catch. I knew there was a catch. I'm about 20 years in. I'm still looking for that catch.
There's no catch. How many years in?
In my 20th year working here.
That's too funny.
And still can't find the catch.
I worked my way through the ranks just to find out, what is that catch? I still haven't figured it out yet.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
The catch is just that you have to give back, right? It's a
absolutely.
program. You have to volunteer, and you have to support the mission of affordable home ownership and the fight against predatory and discriminatory lending.
Absolutely. And we're going to always continue to do that, guys. As we wrap up, I want to wrap up by saying participate, call the local office nearest you and call them and ask them, how can you volunteer this week? How can you volunteer this weekend? Or, hey, are there any events coming up? I got something to tell you. The holidays are here. They're not coming. They are already here. You want evidence of it? Walk in Walmart and go all the way to the left or the right or the back or the middle, and you're going to see Christmas everywhere. So the holidays are here. And if ever there's a time where you want to be thankful and give back, those of you who have come through the process, you can always contact the local office and say, hey, there's something I want to do. Are you guys doing anything? And those of you who are in the process currently and you need your qualification activities and things like that, to get those activity participation credits, just reach out to your local office or contact 425-602-6222 and ask them, what are you guys doing for the holidays? How can I volunteer today? And boy, are they going to give you some answers and options. That's for sure. Eric Exum, as always, it has been a pleasure. Damien, can you believe the hour is gone?
Wow. You got to come back.
Yeah, he always has to come back.
Just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. If it's anything you want to be thankful for, I know that I am, and I'm sure I can speak for all of the NACA family out here. We're thankful for being able to work with wonderful people like yourself, making you realize your dream of home ownership. And from our house to yours, happy Thanksgiving. Eric, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Same, guys.
All right, you guys take care. Reach us, www.naca.com. Check us out on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. Like us, love us, do whatever you want to do with us. And we are always here giving you more of what you need to succeed. Check us out, think it through, and there it is, everyone. Take care.
Mask up.
Thanks for listening. NACA's American Dream Program is a production of the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, a national nonprofit organization fighting for economic justice through affordable homeownership and community advocacy. To learn more about NACA and our advocacy efforts, careers, NACA's Best in America Mortgage, or to join a NACA in your community, visit us at NACA.com.